history of Pangnirtung is complex. It's as a village, it didn't occur naturally. The families who live here were brought in from camps all over Cumberland Sound. And they were roughly brought in at the same time, mid-60s. There had been some living here since the 20s, but it was basically an outpost camp. Hudson's Bay Company and the church and the hospital. But in the 60s, all the families were brought to live here so their children could go to school. And it was kind of an unnatural occurrence to bring different, almost like, the word tribes doesn't really apply to the Inuit, but almost like bringing a number of different tribes in to live together in a very small place, because this is a small shelf of land with mountains behind and water in front. And at that time, people more or less stayed here. They didn't have the boats that they have now. They only had kayaks. And in their dogs, they lost most of their dogs, so they couldn't travel much in the winter. But that was in the 60s and 70s. By the time we came in the 80s, people had started to become used to this being a community. It had forged together as a community, and there was more opportunities for people. And one of the opportunities was a federal government program for weaving. And they decided, the federal government looked around at each hamlet in Nunavut, each small community, to see what the people wanted in terms of occupation. And in some communities, carving really took off, in others printmaking, and Pangnirtung was chosen for weaving.